all who are in here for today's webinar discussion. Good day, everyone. Before we start to present our presentation, let me introduce myself first. I'm Panagalino Kayasha, your host from Gas Genesis, and
I'm also your host, Minusa Ruby from Gas Genesis. Let me introduce to you to the three persons behind of this nice PowerPoint, our technical directors, Apeo Mary Giseri, Sugbo names Danica, Laride Giselle. Thank you, ladies.
later on, the speakers will be discussing the topic about organizing. Before we move on to the discussion, let me introduce the speakers first, Lua Xavier and Songkadas Kenny Marie.
Thank you, Ms. Panugalino. Again, I'm Songkadas Kenny Marie, your speaker from Gas Genesis. So today we'll be having a topic about organizing. And we will tackle the 5 scope of discussion. Number 1, the nature of organization. 2, types of organization, structures. 3, organization theories and application. Number 4, delegation. And lastly, number 5, formal and informal organization. But first, let us know what is organizing. According to Hyman, organizing is the process of defining and grouping the activities of the enterprise and establishing the authority relationship among them. And according to Chester Bernard, organization is the system of consciously coordinated activities or forces of 2 or more persons. Organizing simply means to arrange or plan if we're talking about event, or to gather into a group that will work on something together if we're talking about people. So first discussion is the nature of organization. Nature refers to characteristics. And there are 8 nature of organization: common objectives, dimension of labor, authority structure, group of persons, communication, coordination, environment, rules and regulation. Common objectives. Every organization exists to achieve some common goals or targets. Sorry for the mistake. It should be division of labor. Division of labor. Overall function of an organization is divided into number of functions. Each department is headed by manager who is sole responsible for function of the department. Authority structure. Graded series of arrangement in an organization. Create a series of superior and subordinate relationship. Group of persons. Workforce of an organization constitutes active environment in an organization. Communication. Every organization have free flow of communication. Coordination. Diverse of effort of various functional departments are integrated towards the common goal through the process of coordination. Environment. Number organization work in a vacuum. Social, political, economic, and legal factors exert influence on the environment. Rules and regulation. Every organization is governed by a set of rules and regulation for orderly function of people. And the next discussion is the types of organization structures. So what is organization structures? An organizational structure defines how activities are directed towards the achievement of organizational aims, or organizational structures provides the context in which employees, teams, and organizations perform. The first type of organizational structures is hierarchical organizational structures. Hierarchical organizational structures, or also known as hierarchical organizational chart. A hierarchical organizational structures is the most common type of organizational structures The chain of command goes from top, examples, the CEO or the manager, down, example of down is entry-level and low-level employees, and each employee has a supervisor. Second, the functional organizational structures. Functional organizational structures similar to hierarchical organizational structures. A functional organizational structure starts with position with the highest level of responsibility at the top and goes down from there. Primarily, through the employees are organized according to their specific skills and their corresponding function in the company. Each separate department is managed independently. Third, the horizontal or flat organizational structures. A horizontal or flat organizational structures fits companies with few level between upper management and staff level employees. Many many startup business use a horizontal organizational structure before they grow large enough to build up different departments, but some organizational maintain this structure since it encourages less supervision and more involvement from all employees. Fourth, the divisional organizational structure. In divisional organizational structures, a company division have control over their own resources, essentially operating like their own company within the larger organization. Each division can have its own marketing team, sales team, IT teams, etc. These structures works well for large companies, and it empowers the division to make decisions without everyone have to report to just few executives. Next. Depending on the organizational focus, there's a few variations to consider. First, market-based divisional organizational structure. Divisions are separated by market, industry, or customer type. A large consumer goods company like Target or Walmart might separate its durable goods from its food or logistic division. For example, clothing, electronics, furniture, and many more. Second, product-based divisional organizational structure. Divisions are separated by product line. For example, a tech company might have a division dedicated to its cloud offering, while the rest of the division focus on the different software offerings. Example, Adobe and its creative suites, Illustrator, Photoshop, and PixArt. And last, geographic divisional organizational structure. Divisions are separated by region, territories, or districts, offering more effective localization and logistic. Companies might establish satellite offices across the country or the globe in order to stay close to their customers. And the fifth type of organizational structures is matrix organizational structures. A matrix organizational chart looks like a grid, and it shows cross-functional teams that forms for special projects. For example, an engineer may regularly belong to the engineering department, lead by engineering director, but work on temporary projects, lead by project manager. Number 6, team-based organizational structure. A team organizational structure is meant to disrupt the traditional hierarchy, focusing more on problem solving, cooperation, and giving employees more control. Team-based organizational structures groups employees according to its team. 7, the network organizational structure. These days, Few businesses have all their services under one roof, and juggling the multitudes of vendors, subcontractors, freelancers, off-site location, and satellite offices can get confusing. A network, a network organizational structures make sense of the spread of resources. It can also describe an internal structures that focuses more on open communication and relationship rather than hierarchy. The next discussion is organizational theories and application. There are three theories which explain the organization and its structures. First, the classical organization theories, the neoclassical theories, the modern organization theories. Classical organization theories include scientific management approach, Weber's bureaucratic approach, administrative and administrative theories. Scientific management approach. The scientific management approach is based on the concept of planning of work to achieve efficiency, standardization, specialization, and simplification. The principles of scientific management. Number one, the creation of a scientific method of measurement that replaces the rule of thumb. Emphasis placed on the training of workers by management. Cooperation between manager and workers to ensure the principles are being met. Number four, equal division of labor between managers and workers. Weber's bureaucratic approach. Weber's bureaucratic approach considered the organization as a part of broader society. The characteristic of bureaucracy: division of labor, managerial hierarchy, formal selection, career orientation, formal rules, and impersonality. Administrative theory. It is based on several principles of management composed of 5 management functions: planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. And there are 14 principles of management. Number one, division of work. Number two, authority and responsibility. Number three, discipline. Number four, unity of command. Number five, unity of direction. Number six, subordination of individual interest to general interest. Number seven, remuneration or compensation. Number eight, centralization. Number nine, scalar chain. Number 10, order. Number 11, equity. Number 12, stability of tenure. 13, initiative. 14, spirit of cooperation. The second is neoclassical theories. Neoclassical theories emphasize individual or group behavior and human relation in determining productivity. Individuals different from each in pursuing desires. Thus, an individual should be recognized as interacting with social and economic factors. The work group. The neoclassical approach highlighted the social facets of work groups or informal organizations that operate within a formal organization. The concept of group and its above benefits were considered important. Participative management. Participative management or decision-making permits workers to participate in the decision-making process. This was a new form of management to ensure increases in productivity. Number three, modern organization theories. Modern organization theories are based on the concept that the organization is an adaptive system which has to adjust to changes in its environment. Modern organization theories include system approach, socio-technical approach, and system approach. The system approach considers the organization as a system composed of a set of interrelated and mutually dependent subsystems. Socio-technical approach. The socio-technical approach considers the organization as composed of a social system and its environment. And the last situational approach. The contingency or situational approach recognizes that organizational systems are interrelated with their environment and that different environments require different organizational relationship for effective working of the organization. And the next discussion is delegation, and it will be discussed by Mr. Lua. Mr. Lua, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank
So
you.
I'm Lua. I'm one of your speakers from God Genesis, and I'll be discussing delegation. So delegation is commonly defined as the shifting of authority and responsibility for particular functions, tasks, or decisions from one person to another. This usually occurs to a leader or manager. While that is probably the most common understanding of the term, there are those who define the term more narrowly. But first, let us be clear on what it isn't. Delegation is not dumping or abdicating personal responsibility. Rather, it is about spreading it out in a way that best advances the organization's short and or long-term cause. Delegation does not involve telling people what to do. Rather, it involves explaining the outcomes and results they are expected to achieve. They are then expected to work out the how and the steps involved. Delegation is not the distribution of tasks, as if simply passing along things from leaders' personal to-do list, also called leader abdication. Most delegated tasks take some time, planning, and effort to complete properly. Delegation does not look the same in every situation. Many factors go into determining what to delegate, when to do so, to whom and how the leader-subordinate relationship will look over the lifetime of the project. Delegation is not about hunting away your weaknesses. As a leader, you aren't going to be able to do every little bit of every project, even when it speaks to your strengths, passion. And of course, there are going to be things that you don't do as well or enjoy as well as much as others. Just make sure that it's not a fixed mindset speaking. But for the most part, delegation should be viewed as a way of building upon existing strengths and getting things done more quickly and completely. Delegation doesn't mean you can do it all yourself. Instead, it means you're a strong enough leader that you can identify projects that would be good for others and your team. So in short, delegation is the assignment of authority to another person, normally from a manager to subordinate, to carry out specific activity. It is the process of distributing and entrusting work to another person. Next is informal and informal organization. So before we tackle formal and informal organization, let's talk about what is an organization. An organization is a collection of people who work together to attain specified objectives. There are two types of organization structure that can be formal organization and informal organization. An organization is said to be formal organization when the two or more than two persons come together to accomplish a common objective and they follow a formal relationship. Rules and policies are established for compliance. and there exists a system of authority. On the other end, there is a informal organization, which is formed under the formal organization as a system of social relationship, which comes into existence when people in an organization meet, interact, and associate with each other. In this article excerpt, we are going to discuss the major differences between formal and informal organization. But first, let us tackle the definition of formal organization. By the term formal organization, we mean a structure that comes into existence when two or more people come together for a common purpose, and there is a legal and formal relationship between them. The formation of such an organization is deliberate by the top level management. The organization has its own set of rules, regulations, and policies expressed in writing. The basic objective of the establishment of an organization is the attainment of the organization's goals. For this purpose, works is assigned and authorities are delegated to each other, members, and the concept of the division of labor and specialization of workers are applied, and so the work is assigned on the basis of their capabilities. The job of each is fixed, and roles, responsibilities, authority, and accountability associated with the job is clearly defined. In addition to this, exists a hierarchical structure which determines a logical authority relationship and follows a chain of command. The communication between two members is only through line channels. Types of formal organization structures are line organization, line and staff organization, functional organization, project management organization, and matrix organization. Now let's move on to the definition of informal organization. An informal organization is formed within the formal organization. That is a system of interpersonal relationships between individuals working in an enterprise that forms as a result of people meet, interact, and associate with one another. The organization is created by the members spontaneously, created out of social legal needs and urge of people to talk. The organization is featured by mutual aid, cooperation, and companionship among members. In an informal organization, there are no defined channels of communication, and so members can interact with other members freely. They work together in their individual capacities and not professional. There is no defined set of rules and regulations that governs the relationship between members. Instead, it is a set of social norms, connections, and interaction. The organization is personal. No rules and regulations are imposed on them. Their opinions, feelings, and views are given respect. However, it is temporary in nature and it does not last long. So, in short, formal organizations are more structured and rely on authority based upon chains of command. And while informal organization does not require hierarchies of authority or structured internal process, they are not formed in order to reach specific goals like a formal organization. That is all.
So that's it. Everyone will now formally ending with this webinar. Thank you so much for all your attention and participation for today's activity.
We hope you all are enjoying while learning. Thank you so much. Bye. See you next reporting.